ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ. This is Bhupender Singh. I'm grateful, humbled, and honored to be of service through production of these podcasts. By grace of Guru, I'm bringing to you a total of 5 episodes on Onkar. Today's world is marred by pain, suffering, racism, violence, divisiveness, and restlessness. There are wars and conflicts among nations, religions, communities, families, and also among people at personal level. To understand and comprehend today's world, I turn to Guru Granth Sahib. I turn my focus on Onkar, that is meant to bring peace, tranquility, and equanimity through realization of oneness. In series of 5 podcasts, I will begin with introduction to Onkar, that is not bound to people of one faith. It is a universal message of Guru Nanak. I will also share how when we are separated from Onkar, we suffer at hands of our egocentric self. Not only we suffer, but we also cause pain to others. This is due to lack of understanding of what is God, what is nature of existence of God, and relevance of our existence in this context. These podcasts are meant to show roadmap to Onkar, whereby all sufferings can end and a life of balance, peace, and abundance can begin. With that said, let us begin our journey together of Onkar. This is Bhupender Singh. Welcome to episode 2 of Onkar. I will begin this podcast with section 4, Practicality of Onkar. Gurbani is practical and meant to be applied in our daily life. Implementation of Bani has instant results that serve the purpose of motivation to continue and remain connected with Guru Granth Sahib. Onkar is a sense of existence. Our efforts in this direction bring about transformation in our thoughts that in turn transforms our man from a virtueless to a virtue-filled state. Collection of thoughts can be called subtle mind-body or man-body. With implementation of Guru's Bani in our daily life, our man-body changes one thought at a time. Until we are not joyous, ecstatic, and blissful unconditionally all the times we are not free, our life is not liberated. Until then, we have not realized teachings of Guru Granth Sahib. Until then, we have not realized teachings of Guru Granth Sahib. Until then, we are without a Guru reflected by our thoughts and actions. Until then, we have not realized Onkar. We have not realized true nature of our existence. We have not realized God. Until we do not approach everything in life, including fun, work, education, relationships, religion, and our identity, consciously, fully aware as an experiential witness without attachments or expectations, we are enslaved to the outer dimension of life. We are enslaved to physical dimension of life that is always short, no matter how many years we add to our life. Until we consider life to be short, we are only aware of small external dimension of our existence. Notion of short life perpetuates our uncivilized existence, consuming at an exponential rate, short of resources and time always. We remain busy, in rush and trying to move fast, without knowing the reason. Once we experience transformation of subtle body called man, we realize our existence is a treasure of simplicity, profoundness, and constant exhilaration of joyous, ecstatic, and blissful celebration. We are high life that is not measured by age, but by its depth like an ocean. We are all-encompassing life to which everything belongs. We do not remain short on time. We do not rush through things. We cherish each moment thoroughly. Though our individual existence, bound by physical body, might be infinitesimal, yet we remain enhanced and enriched due to all-inclusive infinite universe remaining enshrined in our awareness. Practicality of Ik Onkar implies direct transformation of our world. In other words, we start looking at the world through oneness of Ik Onkar. Let us understand how the world appears through eyes of Ik Onkar. Everything in this universe starts pointing towards Ik Onkar. We do not cling to these pointers to become a milestone on side of the road. Our wealth, our house, our titles, our accomplishments, our family, our children, our job, even our physical body starts appearing as a pointer. All you need to do is to be aware. Being aware is witness without attachment. Being aware is maintaining gap between ourselves as awareness and what we are looking at. This gap is the Guru in form of wisdom of Ik Onkar. The Guru provides the Gur, the method for enormously beautiful door of far greater, far enriching, far fulfilling world of enchanted love of oneness. Love of Ik Onkar that enters our awareness. We shall be mesmerized forever, stripping all fears, insecurities, and uncertainties. Our house of desires burns up to light up the sky of love for Ik Onkar forever, and we rejoice in oneness, in one Noor, in us, all around us. Sun, millions of sun rays, and infinite lumens of light appear to be different entities, appear to be separate, yet these entities have the same essence. Light is a sense of sun and sun rays. As light, millions of sun rays and sun are the same. It is one that appears as many, in many, supporting many. Consciously or unconsciously, everything is seeking its essence, which is Ik Onkar. In oneness, there is not another to fear, to fight, to compete, to be envious of. In oneness, there is nothing to lust, to greed, to be angry at, to be attached to. This is the deathless death of millions of thoughts in form of man that brings about supreme bliss, Param Anand. Kabir Ji states, जिस मरने ते जग डरे, मेरे मन आनंद, मरने ते ही पाइये पूरन परमानंद. Man already knows the source of this Puran Paramanand. The man has to sacrifice itself at the altar of Ik Onkar. The sun ray knows of the sun, that is inside it in the form of light. Through denial, man is constantly rejecting its greater self being Jyot. Accepting and honoring our seeking is the religion we are born with, that we cannot escape no matter how long we remain in denial. Our fright, pain, and suffering are pointers to our denial. Upon close examination, you shall find you are the cause of yourself, your joy, your pain, your suffering. You are the creator of your destiny. What you are experiencing in this moment is a result of your choices. You are a powerful being whose powerful man is working against them. Mamma, man syon kaaj hai, man saade siddh hoye, man hi man se kahe kabira, mansa milya na koe, eh man shakti, eh man siyo, eh man panch tat ko jiyo. Eh man le jao un man rahe, tau teen lok ki baatein kahe. In these pankti, Kabir ji has captured the potential of the man, the power of the man, and also the opposite side of the man, where he's attached to the 5 elements to the body, seeking Puran Paramanand in form of oneness is ever-present Dharam since beginning of time till eternity. You are born in this religion. Anything else you identify with becomes cause of your downfall from Puran Paramanand. Without realization of this timeless Dharam, pain and suffering are normal, natural. This is Hukam. From the Hukam came the Dharam. From Hukam came Man, the source of separation and denial. You shall try living once, embrace life once, to be forever, live as one by realizing your true self. In fact, you are not the physical body. You are not man either. You are Jyot Sarup. You have to realize your essence, your Sarup. Your inner pursuit will be reflected outwardly in your approach towards the rest of the world. If living is not rooted in Ik Onkar, such a tree of life does not bear sweet fruits of joyous actions. Obvious question that shall arise at this point is, what is the cause of current state of life where we are separated from our greatest self, from our essence, and denial has become the wall of convenience behind which we hide? Let us move on to address this question under section 5. Separation from Ik Onkar, Kurdipal. The whole point of pursuing realization of Ik Onkar is rooted in the fact that currently we are separated from Ik Onkar, reflected in our thoughts and actions. Guru Granth Sahib refers to this separation as Kurdipal. Guru Nanak has raised the fundamental question about separation at the very beginning of Guru Granth Sahib and also provides the answer. Kiv sachiara hoiye, kiv koode tutte pal. Hukam rajai chalna, Nanak likhya naal. Let us first understand what is Kurdipal. Our enslavement to outward dimension of life is like a light bulb believing itself to be the source of light. Outward dimension of life is also referred to as the material world, known by its impermanence. Under this illusion, we as light bulb or oblivion to the fact that we are simply a means for electricity to transform into light. Until we as light bulb are not aware of electricity and do not acknowledge source of our outward dimension in form of material world, we lay claim on whatever is in our possession. Material world not only includes things, it also includes our worldly influence, social and monetary power, our abilities to think, act and create. Any sort of ownership is foolishness. The foolishness is reflected in our ever-present expectations of bountiful reward for our deeds, actions, and even charity. This is so because we believe ourselves to be the doers and act out of expectations and desires. In fact, our life becomes a transaction. The world we dwell in becomes a marketplace. In this marketplace, even love and respect turn into currency of transactions. Human relationships turn into business deals. At the center of this marketplace is our egocentric nature due to our ignorance about our true nature of existence. We limit our life to bounds of our egocentric self. As we miss the bigger picture, our world becomes an imperfect world. Little do we know the imperfect world is our creation. Little do we know until we see the world through the eyes of Ik Onkar, though we will despise our own created imperfect world, we shall remain attached to it. Little do we know we are at war with ourselves. Little do we know our greatest power, our mind, is working against us. Little do we know all objects, including people, are mirrors in which we see our desires. We see lovely face of man that appears as desire when we are looking at this world. The desires we see in others is actually the face of our mind. When the mirror does not reflect our desire, we walk away from the mirror. We as egocentric man spins around itself that creates the so-called world. The world created as a result of recycling of our desires. Our egocentric world that revolves around itself separates us as Noor from our greatest self. This separation is Kurdipal. Everything in outward dimension of the world is impermanent. We give meaning to situations and people based on our perception of interactions with others. This is based on our expanding and contracting understanding as a result of our desires and expectations from others. Gurbani calls desires and expectations asas and trishnas. There is a great chance the person we like today, we might not like them tomorrow. The situation we term as good today will appear to be bad tomorrow. In fact, what we think of ourselves right now might be different in few hours. What we perceive as ever-changing world is actually our changing perspective due to change in our understanding. What we perceive as imperfect world is actually our imperfect understanding. Gurbani calls imperfect understanding manmat. Our man maligned by asas and trishnas. Due to manmat, what we see does not exist that Gurbani refers to as Maya. This means our manmat has created an illusion that we defend, endorse and live by. The illusion is wall of separation. The wall of separation is Kurdipal. No two people can see the world to be the same because the world is a reflection of our imperfect understanding called manmat. Manmat of one person differs from another person. No matter how close they are. Therefore, no two people can think alike and like each other all the times. To expect otherwise is param. When we as light bulb do not realize presence and manifestation of Jyot through us, we are behind the Kurdipal. When we realize presence of electricity that carries light in it, we become safe, secure, and certain. Electricity is the same Jyot in all of us that has all the gunas which manifest itself through us. Until we do not acknowledge same electricity in all light bulbs, we fail to be our greatest self in form of Ik-Nur and operate from exclusivity. Gurbani has used the term Hame for exclusivity. Being exclusive, we consider ourselves separate from others and tend to work in our own self-interest. Gurbani also used the term Kurdipal for the wall of illusion that separates us from the Jyot, the treasure of all gunas. This illusion is Hame. The Kurdipal is dirt on light bulb, inhibiting full brightness. Even though we all have the same potential in form of the same Jyot, the collection of gunas, we appear to have different potentials due to Kurdipal. This potential is reflected in our social and financial status, creating divisiveness and exclusivity. Divisiveness and exclusivity is Kurdipal, the wall of separation that makes us believe we are all different and separated. Kurdipal separates us from each other in our outside world also. Outward separation is a result of inward separation, whereby we become separated from our true self. We become uprooted, like a tree separated from its roots. Exclusivity is reflected by measure of our success and possessions in the outward dimension of life. Yet, exclusivity is the very cause of feeling insecure, unsafe, and uncertain. When we identify ourselves with Hame, we are broken as we live from egocentric self due to separation from our true nature of existence. No matter how good we do in the outside world, we will create mess in the world until we fix our inside. We need to fix ourselves before we go out to fix the world. Hame is our egocentric self. Hame projects differently in all of us as our personality. Hame is our Manmat. Below are some signatures of Hame if we need to understand it better. 1. We do not approach life consciously, fully aware as an experiential witness. Due to feeling of being a doer, called Apapav, we claim ownership like a light bulb claims the light is coming from it. This creates attachment to our possessions that ultimately start possessing us. Number 2, we consider life to be short, as we are only aware of small external dimension of life. Notion of short life perpetuates our uncivilized existence, consuming at an exponential rate, always feeling less. We remain busy, in rush, and always trying to get somewhere fast. Number 3, our life purpose is centered around our personal success. We feel the need to compete all the time. Number 4, we are only happy when we are number 1. Being number 1 is more important than our well-being. We even seek attention in name of charity. Number 5, we fear physical death. We consider worry and fear to be synonymous with being human. We believe in managing anxiety and stress. I hope this provides good insight into Kurdipal. It is very important to understand our current state of being. Once we clearly identify and understand the problem, the solution is already there, provided by Gurbani. This concludes episode 2. In episode 3, I will talk about how separated from our greatest self, our true self, we can unite with it. And then I will also discuss Ik Onkar, God, and true nature of our existence as provided by Gurbani. Thanks for listening to this podcast and stay tuned for episode 3. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.